it was just, it was, yes, I get it. It was systematic, straight to the point, everything that was, everything that's needed. But the cross-examination from Georgia Cappleman was really mind-blowing, because she just bring up the issues that would go on in divorce pleadings and asked her whether it would have any emotional toll. Let's watch this part of testimony, because I thought that this was particularly interesting.
They weren't? How do you know?
From the plea.
Let me go back a bit.
And child custody is the offensive materials in the...
Go back a little bit. Went
Hey, this is no big deal. This is no problem.
bit more.
To what Mr. Markel would file, the job as lawyers is to explain to our clients when we get a motion. If I get something, for example, that, although I've never had, something similar to what Mr. Markel would file, the immediate response is to call your client and go, I know you're going to read this at first glance, it's going to seem messy, but there's no legal basis for this, so don't worry. And my understanding is that is what she communicated to Wendy.
And when you communicate these things to your clients, hey, this is no big deal, this is no problem, this is a bunch of gibberish, do they always accept that?
Well, that's not the way I would present it, but...
Do they ever get upset about the gibberish in the pleadings, the offensive materials in the pleadings, regardless of whether or not it's going to impact their chance of success in court? It can be emotionally charged, can it?
I would say annoying more than emotionally charged.
You would not say that divorce and child custody issues are emotionally charged?
They can be, but in this case, they weren't.
They weren't? How do you know?
From the pleadings, because I don't have 10,000 pages in front of me.
You're not in the mind of the people whose lives are impacted by these pleadings. It's not just about pieces of paper and a binder, is it?
I don't think that's what I said.
People's lives are impacted by the decisions that go on in court, which for you are routine. Would you agree?
In this instance, they reached agreement on all issues, so they had complete control of what was coming out of the court.
Ma'am, could you please answer my question? Are people's lives impacted in drastic ways by routine matters that we see in court as lawyers?
People's lives change after divorce, certainly.
So, like, I may think I've got a bag of stinky garbage, but the garbage man might not think it's stinky at all. Do you get the reference?
I don't.
What is no big deal to us is a big deal to these litigants, right? You can't agree with
Perhaps.
that. You can't agree with it. Strike the question. You were asked.
This was the moment that you just have to, in my opinion, this is the moment that if you are an expert, you just have to kind of turn the blinkers off a little bit and just, she has been direct. She has been systematic, which I thought that she had given good testimony for the defense. I'm going to speak in regards to these two witnesses after I've gone through the cross-examination and the redirect. But this was the moment that I thought, at the very least, you could concede. You could actually just say, yeah, it can be. Unfortunately, sometimes it does go overboard. I may have the feeling that it wasn't like that in this particular case, but yeah, I could see why Dan would be frustrated by not having the marital assets go his way. I can also see him being happy that the relocation request was accepted. You know, things like that I don't see anything that's wrong with that, because as an expert, all this cross-examination did to me, at least in my opinion, was make her look extremely biased, which you're not supposed to be as an expert witness. You're supposed to at least be unbiased to all this. And I thought that she could have handled this a lot better, honestly, because she was at ease when she was on direct examination. So I can see how she may have been blinkered to the emotional cues, because there were sometimes in a direct examination that I thought, okay, maybe you shouldn't say this thing, maybe you should be a bit more sensitive, maybe you shouldn't laugh at certain parts. But at the same time, I felt like the defense done a good job in trying to like make her in trying to make her be a bit more at ease to give her testimony. So when it comes to this part, at least calm down. Like you're not wrong by saying that you don't see anything that was going on in this divorce to be contentious. Like you're not wrong by saying that. But obviously Georgia going the way she did made her feel as if she was being I forgot the word, not challenged, but it made her feel offended. There is a specific term, but anyway, I'm gonna continue on with the cross-examination, which Georgia was basically highlighting that these things are not routine, to basically give the idea that it just helps their theory. Because the reason why this expert is brought in, I'm guessing, is to basically say that there's no way that it could have risen to the level of murder, because it wasn't actually that bad. Things were actually flowing through, and it was just unfortunate that Dan Markel was killed in the manner that she did. But the way that Georgia has approached this has brought it right back to show that maybe it really was more stressful, at least for the people involved. Let's continue on with the cross.
Let me ask you this. Let's go on to something else. Have you ever had people get murdered or commit suicide based on the issues that are going on in your family law litigation?
I've never had anyone murdered. I had in one instance a Middle Eastern person committed suicide just because there was a divorce, and that was shameful. So nothing was it was literally the day after the petition was filed, and he had threatened, if you file, I'm going to kill myself, and indeed he did.
And to you, divorce is not shameful, is it?
To me, divorce is not shameful.
Divorce is not a basis to commit suicide, is it?
Not according to me, but I didn't grow up in Iran or wherever this custom or feeling.
Exactly, Ms. Bailey.
derived.
To that person, it was a reason to commit suicide, right?
Apparently so.
You could have just copped this up on your own.
Aren't these issues raised in these pleadings potential fuel to make people upset?
Potential fuel to possibly make people upset?
Yes, ma'am. For example, you were asked about what we've called the grandma motion. You say, oh, it's no big deal, it wouldn't be granted, it was buried in there. But the allegation is, grandma is disparaging me to these kids, and I won't tolerate it, right? Couldn't that be upsetting to grandma?
You'd have to ask grandma. I don't know.
Exactly.
It shouldn't have been. There was no proof.
This is like, you can tell that Georgia has gotten under her skin, and this is why I thought, why would you bring this expert in who is already close with the lawyer? Of course, this is likely a family friend, of course. So there is that inherent bias already attached to it, but at the same time, she just couldn't. She also is the type of person, I believe, that just has to be right in every situation. That's what I gathered, because she didn't have to make that comment that she just made right here. She didn't have to, and yet she did. Like, there was no proof. Why is that you're not on trial? Neither are you supposed to be. I know you're a defense witness, but you're not supposed to. At least, it's not your place to decide what's facts or what's proof or not. It's just, okay, this happened, like, especially with her being a lawyer, she knows that redirect is coming. Compose yourself and wait for your counsel to rehabilitate you. But like, I don't understand what was going on here, because like I said, I've never been in court, so I don't know what pressure people are under, but if I was there, I really would have given the testimony to basically say, listen, yeah, Dan may have been upset by losing his motions to have the assets, that didn't go his way, but he also could have been elated that he had, of course, won the motion to have the relocation denied. Handled, done. Georgia would have nowhere to move after that.
Shouldn't have been, in your opinion.
In my opinion.
But in your opinion, divorce is no reason to commit suicide, right?
True.
Use her example against her.
Gibbers, according to the evidence in this case, means Jew in boots. It's not a flattering term by that definition or by your definition of someone that speaks gibberish. Can we agree it's not a flattering term?
No, it's probably not flattering, but I've seen far, far worse.
You've seen worse.
I have.
If Mr. Markell wasn't paying by the deadline, isn't that something that would be potentially upsetting to the parties or their family members?
I don't know how upsetting $80,000 would be. I don't know.
$80,000 is a lot of money, isn't it, Miss Bailey?
It depends on who you are.
Exactly. So we'd have to ask the parties, right? Right?
Sure.
Okay.
I think on that issue, he clearly had the assets. So at the end of the day, he was going to pay. It was just a matter of jumping through hoops to get the money.
He was either going to pay, or he was going to get sanctioned by the court, or he was going to end up in jail, right?
I don't see any possibility he was going to end up in jail.
Okay. Well, you sat in the courtroom during Ms. Adamson's testimony,
I did.
didn't you? And
I
Ms.
did.
Adamson said that was one alternative, an extreme alternative, obviously, but that's what contempt means, right?
But that
Ultimately.
wouldn't even come into play until the motion for enforcement, and then he didn't abide by that, and then the judge asked him to do something else, and then he didn't abide by that. I think jail was pretty far-fetched.
Well, as long as he pays. Ultimately, the
Sorry about that.
is you go to jail.
No, that's not true.
It's not true. Okay. Ms.
Yeah.
Adamson was incorrect on that point, I guess.
Objection, Your Honor. It's not a question that we just strike.
I'll rephrase it.
Was the objection again?
It's an improper comment on the witness's testimony.
Okay, so like she's just, in my opinion, she's the worst. I mean, she's just not a people person. You can tell that she testified to earlier when she was being proffered, well, after the proffer, and she was giving testimony in regards to her background, as she obviously teaches a lot of people how to in regards to conducting family law. You can basically tell that she just has more of that experience and maybe has not been in this scenario before. Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's just bad. It's just bad in my opinion. But this part was where I thought exemplifies all that we saw through the cross-exam, because there was the way that she had explained how Jan Markell was killed, how she had approached that was honestly deplorable. Let's watch.
Motion. So had that not been filed, they would have
Let me go back here.
set for hearing May 15th. And then Mr. Markell amped it up again, and on May 5th, he filed the motion that accused Kristen of fraud. So she had to withdraw, so they had to move that motion. So had that not been filed, they would have had a resolution on May 15th.
We don't know that. How do you know it was going to go on May 15th? Could have gotten continued for any zillion different reasons, couldn't it?
it was set for May 15th and it was noticed for May 15th.
Set for May 15th, but at the time of Dan Markell's murder, litigation was still ongoing in this case.
It
Yes? Yes. And even after that was resolved, there would be nothing stopping them from having a bunch of other time-sharing issues or whatever come up, and they might have ended up with reams of paper, right?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Overruled. The witness has provided an opinion. The state
Well-
will cross-examine.
I guess my
It's-
response to that would be, I think it would have been to Wendy's benefit to proceed with those hearings, because nothing makes someone stop filing nonsense pleadings and motions better than having them ordered to pay the other side's attorney's fees. So had they gone to the hearing on May 15th, and had Wendy have been successful, he would have very likely had to pay Wendy's attorney's fees. And I really encourage my clients in these situations to take it to hearing. So once the other side gets kind of slapped down, if you will, by the court and made to pay your fees, then they tend to back off. So
But that hadn't happened yet,
it had not happened yet.
and we'll never know when that was going to happen, because we never got to that point, right?
Clearly,
Because he was murdered.
clearly.
Yeah,
Rattled. Absolutely rattled. Because, I mean, either she has never been at a murder case or never been in that scenario where she had to give testimony. But for you to answer clearly in front of the jury, rather than something like, it's unfortunate, but yes, he couldn't control, he's not going to go forward. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it would have continued. It's unfortunate that Dana had died in the manner that he did, but likely the hearing would have ended everything, or it's unfortunate. I don't know. Clearly, I mean, yeah, it's obvious that Dan is dead, but the jury kind of like at that point they could have been like, we've heard enough from the defense. Who knows? On redirect, there was, this is your own witness, trash on cross-examination, and the only thing that the defense does is go up there and basically ask the question. I'm just gonna quickly go to it so that you guys can see. There we go.
You sat through Kristen Adamson's testimony earlier today, correct?
I did.
Did that in any way influence your testimony here this morning?
No, there was no new information.
Nothing further.
Will this witness be recalled at any point?
Even she was surprised. You can tell that she was thinking. You can tell that she was thinking like, maybe you can do a bit better than that. But that the whole purpose of these two witnesses coming to testify was just to give a bit more context to what was going on in the divorce, to basically show that it was not as contentious as the state is leading us to believe, that it was actually a run-of-the-mill kind of divorce. And I thought that they done well in establishing that in the first place. But this witness just came in. Well, I'm gonna say this witness, I mean Linda Bailey, just came in and just bulldozed all of that hard work.